we'll see how it shakes out, and always leave room for people to have an unexpected, um, uh, fast, expeditious recovery. But as far as today, not planning on to see him.
How did A-Chain do in his debut, and where do you feel he's at?
Um, he I thought he did well with his opportunities. You can tell that the game's not too big for him. The biggest challenge is absorbing the entirety of the game plan, which I think he's made vast improvements upon during the course of really since in the spring and through training camp. So I think fortunately for the team, he's prepared for the further opportunities that he'll be giving moving forward.
Your first NFL game as an intern was a Broncos at Dolphins matchup, right?
It was.
Yeah. What did that show you about the early season September home field advantage that exists here?
Um, well, that was pre-global warming. It was hot. I think it's all in each individual team and how they're prepared. I think there's a challenge to adapt to every place you play. In terms of it's outside of normal to a degree, but the good news is it's the same atmosphere for both teams. I think they're very used to it when people travel a mile high, and I'm sure they're going to be prepared for the humidity.
Along those lines, first regular season game against your hometown team. When you think of the Denver Broncos as it relates to your journey, what comes to mind?
It's a big part of it. It's where I fell. That it was the team that I found my love for football with, and their jerseys were orange at the time for the most part. Also, a couple of the biggest influences that I've had from the game of football in terms of Mike Shanahan and by extension Kyle Shanahan and Gary Kubiak, and it's a great franchise. I have played them before, not as a head coach, but what's weird in the journey, once you get in the business, the teams don't feel the same. So it's like I guess it's like how you don't treat bosses the same. Like technically the organization's my boss, so like it's just like all right, it kind of loses its fandom, so to speak, but tremendous organization, and I wouldn't be here without it.
Coach Patrick Surtain has not allowed a whole lot of completions or yards this year. What's the challenge of game planning for a defense that has someone that can lock down a full side of the field?
His son? Or Pat? Yeah, I know he hasn't given up anything. I think you want to talk about a tough position. That's why you kind of know by name the guys that are the best in the business, and I think he's in that category for sure. Because, put it this way: your job is to cover someone with your back to the thing you're defending, which is the goal line, and you have no idea what they're going to do. So you talk about you have to have certain traits to be able to execute that. As well as you have to be deliberate in your approach. You have to have technique and fundamentals, and you have to be patient when you need to be and aggressive when you need to be. So I think he deserves all the praise he gets. He's a heck of a player.
Mike, as head coach, you have relationships with many players. What's different about the head coach quarterback relationship, and how essential is it to success?
I think I think every relationship is unique to itself. I think especially when you really enter into the journey with each individual player, like I try to do. However, there are certain things that, as a play caller, more than anything, that you're just hypersensitive to the extra things that someone has on their plate that maybe people don't really pay mind to. So that the stability and grounded nature that the quarterback position necessitates. Listen, you have the ball in your hands, and if you're throwing a temper tantrum, there's residual results to everyone on the field and the organization. And for guys to be able to make plays, you have to either hand or throw the ball to them. So there's I think I keep that in mind and bear witness to that because there's it's hard to ignore all the different things that you're instructing him to do. So I think it gives you a true appreciation for all the things that need to take place from that particular individual, as well as his immediate surroundings and all the people that are in his corner with position coach, family. Like, it is all encompassing. You are judged retroactively, and no one cares how much you've invested, and you have to be okay with that. You have to just guiltlessly approach your job and not feel entitled to anything. You have to be hungry consistently, and you have to be ready for the unforeseen. You have to continually get better. It's very humbling, and I think that that relationship. I have a more direct scope. I wouldn't call the relationship necessarily different. I would say that I have I would say as true of an appreciation as you can have for all of the successes and earned things that he earns. It's weird English.
Mike, this will probably be a unique week for Bradley Chubb as well. What he showed last week, how encouraging was that? And I guess how confident you are that that's what we're going to see the rest of the season?
I think there hasn't been a day that has gone by since we were able to acquire him that I haven't been thankful. And it's been, production is more of a when, not if. And I think it's awesome to see earned production. But what's unique about Bradley and one of the reasons why we chose to acquire him and we chose to pay him is because he is a difference maker that's also selfless. I think a lot of times, particularly at the edge position in the National Football League, it's almost like a receiver blocking. Like, you have to, as an edge player, defend the run if you want your team to be good, but you don't necessarily get direct compensation all the time for it, or guys get paid for sacks. And so then when you're fortunate to have a guy that can get sacks but also takes extreme pride in the overall complexion of the defense and his part in it, you feel very, very fortunate to have that. I think there's some people with ties to the Broncos organization for sure, but one of the great things about this team and the people in that locker room is they would feel enormously guilty if they approached it with anything other than the team's best interest. So thinking about last year where we were drafted, I'm sure there's memories and stuff, and I would never speak for them, but the one thing that I can tell by actions are that their primary focus is the Miami Dolphins and not their score to settle or whatever it may be created in the media that's not really going on in-house. They're focused on this team getting better from the last.
Mike, how have you seen Butch Barry's approach and mindset translate to the field over the first few weeks?
Directly. I think that's one of the I was fortunate enough to work directly with Butch in San Francisco for my last season there, and the ins and outs of a season, especially the one we had there where we were people were speaking on next year in the middle of the season. We went on a run and then found a way to galvanize and got to the NFC Championship game. That relationship, there's no hiding. You kind of know what you're going to get. And after really taking in the full, or digesting the whole 2022 season, you know, I thought he was just what the doctor ordered. I think if you ask the players, they would say the same thing, and it's not because of anything but his commitment to the task at hand, his commitment to the players, and his integrity of his position. You know, he's relentless. He's sweating in a sun hat every day, brings the juice, and takes it very, very serious. So I think the residuals are in the players, and you know I commend the whole group for understanding their various roles and using each other to maximize all their potential, and which is, you know, this is letter C in the alphabet. We have a long way to go, but it's been very encouraging thus far.
Mike, we saw the Patriots use a kind of a unique defensive plan to maybe try to stop some of your tendencies, and you guys adjusted well. Can you maybe take me through that adjustment process in year two with you and Tua of trying to stay ahead of the defense as they scheme for your tendencies?
No, I think I'm very hesitant to have a crystal ball. I think my job is to have, I think I said it the other day, I kind of view it as like equity in the plan, so that you can allow the players to dictate the terms regardless of the situation. So you have, we have plenty of pass plays we didn't call and some run plays we didn't call, but you're trying to disperse it around, okay, well, they could do this, or this. You don't quite know what it's going to be, but, you know, it didn't take a rocket scientist to, kind of come to the conclusion they might try to stop a pass or two. So you're thinking along those lines, but then the biggest thing is about where the players are with regard to their coaching staff, because what happens in those situations is you're having a puzzle that doesn't replicate any puzzle that you've really seen up until that point. There wasn't playbook drawings of the defense, but for everyone to be accounted for in a pass play or a run play, you kind of have to be able to sort it all out collectively with a collective vision. So to me, it's those types of games which will come if you are fortunate enough to have success. Those type of problem-solving abilities are absolutely fundamentally the team depends on that for you to have success in big moments and big games. That is something that I hope for the team that will continue to get work at as we progress through the season, because I know those are problems that you have to solve live speed in games that you remember for the rest of your life. So it's good to get those reps early.
You've drawn up game plans without your quarterback Tua, without Raheem Mostert, without your Pro Bowl left tackle. You've always had Jalen and Tyreek. If Jalen cannot play this week, would it be any different drawing up a game plan without him than without Tua, Raheem, Teron, or anybody else?
Well, I think I'm just going to go home. These great players afford you a ton of fortune to feature. There are a lot of players on this team, and there's a lot of people that go about their business with complete humility and commitment to the team, because a lot of guys on this team know that for us to be our very best, we have to do whatever we can for each other, and specifically those guys. And that being said, there's plenty of players that can make plays on the team. I think I really don't worry nearly as much as you'd think about what we don't have. It's like 100% what we do and how to problem solve for that. I find it's hard enough to do your job as best you can, but spending time about things like I literally don't think about it. It's there's skill sets to be utilized, and coaches to help get the best out of them. So that we just move on to what we do have, what we can feature, and different sort of problem solving that will continue. Unless I get them both part of a absolute lifetime contract as a coach. At some point, I have to play football without one, two, without a, might have to play football with 3 fullbacks someday. You never know. So I think that's part of the game and the NFL season. There's a reason for there being a 53 plus 16,
I'm curious, when all of your receivers, except for Tyreek and Jalen, have various different skill sets, do you create specific packages for them, like the Uzukama package, which obviously is kind of a borrowed from Debo Samuel's package?
No, they I think all again you try to feature people's skill sets, and you're hyper aware of what's putting someone in a good position and what's putting them in a poor position. I think we have various skill sets, and I would say, I think that I do view that as a part of the coaching staff and the coach's job is to, again, feature and highlight their attributes as opposed to saying, our receiving core would be very, very thin if I was like, nope, not Tyreek, sorry. Nope, not, like that's the way. And you know what? I think you see it every game. There's guys that are huge producers for us that get maybe a passing acknowledgement at the end of articles that are features of our star players. I think that's a sign of a team because all of our guys they empower and look to heighten anybody's success and feel the gratification when possibly they're overlooked but are able to make a play.
Thanks, Mike.
Cheers, Mike.